In this video, we will upgrade Windows Server 2012 R2 to 2019, but we're going to do something a little different in this specific video. We're going to actually upgrade Windows 2012 R2 to 2016. This is for people who would like to just upgrade it to 2016 so they will have something visual to see. If people who just want to upgrade it to 2019, it's the same process that what we're doing for 2016. You just have to mount the ISO, make sure the space is available, just kind of precaution kind of stuff, and then you can directly go into Server 2019. As you can see from Microsoft documentation, it is possible, and you simply have to follow the documentation right here. I'll put this in the description. If you have a different server, let's say upgrade from 2008 R2, you see they have all the images and everything, and if just 2012, then you have some images right here to 2016. If you want to do it to 2019, then here you go, you got an R2 to 2019. And if you want to upgrade it from 2019 16 server to 2019, which is a part of this video as well. So it's like in one video we have upgrade from 2012 to 2016, 2016 to 2019. So let's get started. Server, and the server is also good, has two processors, and then also has 108 GB RAM and 64-bit. So this is the management server. That's the name that I gave, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually getting an ISO for 2016 server, and this is where I'm not gonna go and say, okay, what is ISO and everything. This is all for junior systems admin, so I believe that this level, if you're doing this, you should know this. So if you don't know and you think that this is advanced stuff for you, make sure to go back and take our help desk courses, help desk skills, to get to understand all this stuff. So right now we're only getting the ISO to on this server, and then we're going to do an in-place upgrade. This is a hardware, so it's going to take a little time, and whatever we come across in this first project, we're just gonna let you know this is what happens with this. If you can also just get the new ISO and burn it on a USB or DVD, and just directly install that operating system on the server if you have something like this. But we don't have that yet. We have the server already running this operating system, so we're gonna follow this procedure right now. Okay, so we have copied the ISO. So for in 2012 server, when you have an ISO copied over, you can just right click and click on mount, and then it will basically see, like right here, another drive will be added automatically. If you don't see that in 2008, you may have to go online and just download mounting software. Just look for like mount ISO software and just download any software that you think it's good enough. Since we're not touching 2008, we're just gonna do this one. So right now you see there's a setup information. Now remember, before you do this process, there's a space requirement. Usually Microsoft recommend at least 15 GB, but maybe you can get away with that. But this is a pretty big hard drive. I already have enough space, so I'm not worried about that. I'm just gonna go to the drive, right click, run as administrator, and I am just gonna run this upgrade. And you can see right now it says download and install updates recommended. I'm not gonna do that right now. Maybe later on I can do that. I'm just gonna click next, and now it's going to start checking things. While that's happening, I'm gonna pause a little bit because I want to make this a little bit faster. So this is what you're gonna get right here, and we're gonna do the desktop experience. We're going to click next here, and then accept the agreement and keep my files. You need to make sure you do that. If you were gonna do, remember this like a brand new operating system, to just plug in and just go with the next option. It's very easy because there's no data, so then you can just pick the drive and just install fresh operating system. But I'm doing an in-place upgrade, so I need to keep all these files and everything. Now another part that you should really remember before you start this whole process and get to the point where you really started, you need to know that you need a license, 2016 license. So if you're not using trial versions, if you're using trials, then don't worry about it. But if you're using like a professional license and somehow you basically messed up your old one, then know that that's not gonna work anymore. You need a 2016 license, data center license. So make sure you know that. If not, just download the trial versions if you really want to do this process and just want to learn things, how to upgrade things, and you can trial will not have any issues. And when I basically finish this, I will have 3 days to put my license in there. So you're gonna get this message that Windows Server upgrade are not recommended. For best results, just try fresh install. I don't care about that right now because I've done this many times and I think it's okay for me. So I'm just gonna go in there and say, okay, Microsoft setup has detected one or more running virtual machines. Please save or shut down all virtual machines and then restart the installation. So this is one purpose, to show you how things can get stopped and what things can cause an issue. So number one, I told you about space, but here you can clearly see we have an Hyper-V manager running two systems. So if it's running, Microsoft detected it that, hey, what if this is a very important system like domain controllers? So again, just to kind of give you a warning that this is not something, in a test environment you can always play around with stuff like this, but in a production environment you don't have the ability to mess around with this stuff. You can also have to really be sure that if you have a web servers running and you do an upgrade, will those web servers really come back up? So that's why in virtualization it's pretty easy, because you take a full backup of image of one virtual VHD like a hard disk, and you create a brand new on top of this one, and you do the upgrades and kind of like test everything out. Maybe you can replace it with the same upgrade, which is a little advanced stuff, but that's just kind of like to show you what it is. So now I'm going to do a refresh again. I turn it off, and now we're going to go back in there and see what else can we find out. So you see right here, desktop experience, I already picked up some of the things I already picked. I'm going to go ahead and install it right now. So once I did that, I didn't have to reopen everything from setup. I just have to refresh, and now the whole operating system is going to get upgraded. And this is going to definitely take some time, so let's go ahead and pause this. Okay, your PC will start in a few minutes. So since this is a hardware server, this may take a little time, so we're going to have to wait on that as well. Alright, so now it's restarted. One recommendation for you, that when you restart the server for the first time and when the initial restart, make sure to log into the server and restart the server again one more time, because sometimes even when you finish with the installations and everything is up and running, you may seem it's working, but you may not be able to see some of the functionalities in the server. It just requires that another reboot, and then after that things started to work. Another pointer is that you should come to the services and see which services are having issues. Usually these services are normal, one sync, serve, this stuff like it says delayed restart, start like that. Unless something is kind of like a driver issue or something like that, maybe you should do an online research. But some of these are just normal. Some of the services you can just start by clicking on start, like directly like that. And don't worry about these two right here in the beginning, because we are doing another upgrade, so maybe later on we'll spend more time to fix some of the things. So now that we have 2016 server running, as you can see, everything is good, green. You go to systems here and you can see that we are on 2016 server data center. So that's good, but the first thing we should do right now before we move on to 2019 server, as you can see, we can come back over here. I want to show you one thing, is that if you look at your server and when you restart, you don't see that windows.old file anymore. That's because when you did the restart, that's gone now. So just keep that in your mind, that may not be there anymore. Sometimes when you do an upgrade, it does show in windows.old, but in this case, you see it's not there. So that's just to give you ability to go back if something goes bad. That's why I do not recommend relying on windows.old file anymore. You want to really take a full image of a server if it's a hardware. You want to take a snapshot and also a VHD image if it's a VM. So that just gives you another way to get back if something goes wrong. And I'm not going to rely on like a folder specific backup. That's something I never did that myself. Now the first thing we should do is to go and look for Windows Update feature in the server. So we just type Windows Update. So there you go. It's going to say check for updates. So that's the first thing you should do in this server. We're going to go ahead and check for updates and run any updates that are available for the server before we move on to 2019 server. And that's how we're going to go in there. We're not going to do too much in this 2016. We already know it's working pretty nice, and there you go. It just started looking for updates, downloading updates. This may take another 30 minutes or something like that. So the whole upgrade has to work like that. Just again, if you're doing a VM upgrade, then sometimes I like to do is that if I get on 2016, I'll take a 2016 snapshot, right? So I got, let's say, 2000 before starting the upgrade. I took a snapshot. Let's say in the middle I took a snapshot. If I do the whole process right here and I convert it to 2019, I'll take a snapshot just to make my life easy. If I want to go back, I don't have to spend a whole time again. So that's just another pointer right there. But even for snapshots, you need to make sure you have a lot of space in your virtualization hypervisor or anything like that. Whatever you use, then you should know that there's a space limitations and everything. So just keep that in mind. So let's wait on this too. Let's finish this and let's upgrade it to 2019. Alright, so while we are getting the updates running and installing, we're gonna also download the ISO for 2019 server. Now remember, you want to finish everything, all the updates and everything, before you get into 2019 server. And now if you want to stay on 2016, do know that after 3 days you're going to need to put this license. It's not activated. If you don't want to stay on 2016, you can leave this as not activated, and you can just use the 2019 license. Now in your case, what you're going to do is, first thing is to go to the server manager and actually turn off the IE security configuration right here. This should be turned on your server, because if you try to go to the Google with this information, this turned on, you won't be able to download directly on the server like ISO. So if I go to Google now, I won't have any issues. And now this is not recommended in a production environment. You want to make sure your server is secure. So this is just for you to just kind of easily get to things. That's why they made this, because a lot of server engineers usually try to get things on the server and try to fix everything before they lock it down. So it just makes it easy. So in your case, maybe you'll just go to 2019, Windows 2019 ISO trial. If you type that, just like you did it for the 2016, you're just gonna click here, and what you will do is you will probably download the ISO from the evaluation right here. So it's a 180 days ISO. You're going to click here, you're going to basically log in, put some information, get the ISO, do the same process, do the same upgrade, and you're going to have 2019 server, which we're going to do. But I'm not going to use the evaluation because I have a 2019 ISO, so I'm going to use that from volume licenses with Microsoft. So I'm going to use that for testing, and then probably I don't need this server, so maybe I'll remove it after this. But in your case, if you're doing testing for 180 days, you can keep the same flow. You downloaded it for 2016, and now you want to download it for 2019, and you just do the same flow. So from there on, let's say I downloaded this ISO, and now I'm going to have a 2019 ISO on my servers. So once you get that updates running, your machine is going to restart multiple times. Just do that, and then once you're done with that, make sure to come back up again. And first of all, just to kind of see which type of version you are on. So you can do cmd and just type this command winver. It's a good idea to just keep a snapshot of this or take a picture of this and see if this changes during the updates. This may be a major update or something like that. So that's just a little tip right there. So another thing you want to do is, once you restart the server, you don't see updates are still running. This may be pending some type of install. So when you do check updates again, if you go to the check updates, and you see right here it's asking for the installation. So we're gonna go ahead and start installing this right now, and then we'll wait again. So this is the whole process. Now this is why it's so important to run these updates, because without these updates, then you're gonna have issues moving up to different type of versions like 2019, and that's where a lot of people get stuck, because then they try to fix these things, and it's not easy to fix things while things are in the middle of installations and stuff like that. It's just hard to fix stuff like that. All right, so we're gonna wait for this now to finish up, and we'll come back. Now that the server is fully up to date, we're going to go ahead and open up our ISO from 2019 server and start the in place upgrade. So simple process. Again, right click on it, the mount option should show. If for some reason this is not showing up, then you can download something external for mounting, but 2012 and upward have this feature. In 2008 you may have this issue. So we're gonna go ahead and right click and click on mount. As you can see right now, it's mounted as a drive right here. If I go to this PC, and there you go, our 2019 server is mounted. So I'm gonna right click here, actually not right click here, I'm gonna double click on here and then right click on setup and run as administrator, and then we will just wait and do the same process like what we did in 2016. So again, it's saying that download, update drivers and optional features. I'm not going to do this in the installation process because I already did some of the updates on the server. I'm just going to basically click not right now, and usually basically you can check this, but I'm going to uncheck this for now, and I'm going to click next. And this is checking our PC information. We're going to do 2019 data center with GUI data desktop experience, and we'll click next. Accept the license, keep my files because I want to keep these applications. So here you go, we got everything checked, and you can also change what to keep and all that kind of stuff if you want to remove some of the files that you don't need. But I'm gonna keep everything as is, and I'm just gonna click on install, and that's it. The process has started right now. You can see it's on 0%, so we'll wait on this to finish up. It's exactly the same in 2016 you saw the same screen, everything is the same. Once you learn one experience of upgrading a server, it's almost the same for almost all the servers. So after restarting the server many times, then you see this in 2019 server. As you can see, they have this try manager. You get this password stuff right here, but try managing servers with new admin center. Now this is where you can actually get in to start learning more about Windows 2019 server, because they have a lot of new features they're adding and still adding. So you should definitely look into that by going to the Microsoft documentation. But this video is not about the features, but the whole upgrade. So at this point we are just going to do one last thing before we finish this video, and this will be the whole purpose of this video, that we have successfully upgraded the server. The first thing is to go to the system and just to confirm, are you really on 2019 server? So if we go in there, you can see right here 2019 data center 809. So the first thing you should do now is to run Windows updates on this server as well, because you do want that 2019 updates on the server. So if you do that, you go to check for updates, you see there are some Windows updates already pending in this server. So simply just by installing that, you can finish this whole upgrades. As you can see, when you do this whole upgrade, you're going to see a lot of new things in Windows 2019. So if you're not used to Windows 2019 server, I highly recommend you visit Microsoft documentation and just type in Google Windows 2019 new feature, but make sure you follow the Microsoft documentation, and from there on it's a lengthy documentation and you can do that. So we're done over here. We have successfully upgraded this server. In the next video we are going to show you, since you have done all this hard work, how can we take a full image of a hardware in case we come across any issues in future, or maybe we just want to keep that as a backup for long term, because we are going to be doing a lot of stuff to this server to learn a lot of things as a systems administrator on this hardware. So this is why we are going to take that image. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions about this upgrade, then do ask me. But one thing just to keep in mind, that this was a normal and simple upgrade. Usually, like I said in my other videos too, systems administration is not this easy. You will have a lot of applications in Windows servers, like domain, even the services and roles. You will have a domain controller, self-active directory, DHCP, DNS, and then you will have a lot of different type of settings. For example, IIS web server will have many different type of applications, and when you upgrade these servers, most likely your job is going to be there. It's not just upgrading the operating system. But this is also one part of it, and you've seen this a very hands-on experience right now, and you've seen this on hardware. Next time we'll show you on a virtual systems how do we do it in a virtual environment, which is very common these days. Thank you.